Strange. We're going to be chatting through her journey in the industry and what the women in channel community means to her. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So I thought a really good place to start would be to talk around how people kind of accidentally fall into the industry.
Yeah, okay.
Because I feel like I fell into the industry accidentally, and I feel like maybe you did as well, but it would be good to understand your journey and kind of how you got to where you are.
Yeah, so, firstly, like, telecoms isn't sexy, is it? Let's face it. So anybody that tells you that they went into telecoms and was like, that was my career path, I'd be questioning. I think for me, I was always very technical when I was little anyway. I did ask my parents at the weekend what I wanted to be when I was little. And my mom said I wanted to be a princess until I was about 3. And then I wanted to be an astronaut. And then when I got a bit older, I wanted to be a wrestler because I loved watching wrestling when I was little. I was a proper tomboy. So for me growing up, like tech was just a real thing that I self-learned. So if I couldn't do it, I fixed it. I was in an era where like the internet just started. So all of that stuff was like fun for me, like the dial-up stuff. And so I'd always, I think, had an edge of tech over the years. And then, yeah, I sort of, like I said, I fell into telecoms. So I actually I did a degree in film. And I just did it and realised that I just really enjoyed more of the business side of it. So any business I'd been in, I wanted to know what everybody did and how they did it and how it worked. And then, yeah, an opportunity became up in RPS. So RPS was my first telecoms role. And I remember going and interviewing with Ron at the time. I'm sure he'd tell you I interviewed him, probably not the other way around. And we just sat there and we talked. And there was just a spark that I just not felt for anything else before. And I was just like, this is my place. This is it now. And that was it. And
So how old were you when you kind of left the film and TV kind of?
I'm trying to think back now. I've been at RPS for 11 years.
Okay.
So I did a lot of film and marketing after I came out of university. So I actually worked in the car dealership for a while, filming videos of cars for a living. So that was my job. Yeah, fun job. So I did that for a while, but I think, yeah, like I said, I think I realized that I enjoyed far more the elements of the behind the scenes than I did. So it was always about what the business was doing and how the marketing was impacting the numbers. And it was on that sort of stuff that I found really interesting me. And I think if I'd have looked back and maybe gone more for a technical route, would that have come out sooner?
Yeah.
It's like I went to college to do a computing course, and I got told by one of the lecturers that it'd be too hard because I was a girl, and I went and did media. And at that point, I think had I been the girl that was bold enough to be like, well, I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
Would I have gone into sort of a computing side of it sooner? It sort of all came full circle for me. So. But I gained a lot of experience along the way in different industries as well. So,
And do you think now if someone had said that to you, you would have been like, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. Whereas back then,
and most of my team will tell you that I can be quite fiery when I want to be. So I'm very calm. I generally am. But I can be fiery if I need to be. I think when you're in charge, you have to have that element of being able to to have that side.
yeah.
And I was far more fiery when I was younger than I am now. I've learned to tone down that fire massively. So the idea that somebody said it was going to be hard, and I was like, oh, absolutely not. It's a confidence thing at that time. Because yeah, I'd always been the one girl. I'd always been the one girl that was on the computer course and the one girl that played football. So yeah, I was always one of one. So at that time though, I decided to then do sort of the media side of it, and there was a time where I did really, really enjoy that. I just sort of fell out of love with it. So.
And the opportunity with Ron, like, how did that come about? Was it kind of like the job came up and you applied for it?
Yes. Actually, so I was very miserable where I was at the time. And I knew I wanted a complete step change, and I didn't really know what I wanted it to be. And it was actually one of my husband's friends at the time, that still works in the industry, doesn't work at RVS anymore, that came to me and said, I've got a perfect job for you. And I was just like, what is it? And he said, well, we need somebody to come in and organize all us lads. And I was like, okay. And he said, and honestly, like, we've done a job description and it's you, Nat. You need to come and apply for this job. And I did. And yeah, like I said, like, I sat down with Ron that first interview and we just hit it off, considering there was a massive age gap between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, I was young enough to be his daughter, and a lot of people thought I was for a long time until he retired.
Yeah.
So I found something that just clicked with me. But it was that. I think in our industry, a lot of it is about, like, you fall into stuff because it's somebody you knew and all of that side of it.
Definitely.
And that was my introduction, and I just fell in love with it. And the idea of not being in it now is really surreal. I've never thought, oh, I would really like to be in that career or that career, because it's just my life. It's just, I can't imagine not doing it.
So not being there. Yeah. No, it's so, and what did you join RPS? Was it kind of sort of just like support?
So I joined RPS in operations.
Okay.
So my strength generally has always been being organised and getting people to do things at the right time. Just it's what I'm good at. But like I said, everywhere I've been, I've always had a desire to understand what other people do. So I was technical. I'm never going to say I'm that technical, because there's a level I can hit and then it goes over my head. So everybody's got a skill set. Everybody's got, but I always enjoyed learning. So at the start, I'd be going on installs and I'd be programming the phones and the routers. And one of the guys taught me how to Cat5 cable, and I did all of that stuff, and I loved it. I've always really believed the value in understanding a bit of what everybody does.
Yeah.
Because then you can understand their day-to-day. And when, especially in an operations role, when you're asking somebody to do something and they're saying, I can't get it done because of, you can at least relate to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Or like when you're trying to book things in for somebody for an install, you know that they've not got the scope to do that week, because you understand how long it takes and what they're going to go through to get there.
Yeah.
And that sort of led over time then, unintentionally, to me knowing everything about the company. So I did the accounts, I did the marketing, I did the sales, and I did a bit of everything. So it sort of then unintentionally became then a path that I went on.
Yeah.
That I'd never gone, right, when I join RPS, one day I'm going to be messaging direct. This is what I'm going to do, because it wasn't on the card. So
yeah. And so when did you when did you become managing director officially?
Asking me dates now. So I became the general manager about 5 years ago. Ron retired. So at that point, I became the general manager. I think maybe over a year and a half, maybe, they asked me to join the board. So, which was really lovely. So yeah, it's got to be over a year. It was my 10-year anniversary. And they approached me and asked me if I wanted to join the board and if I wanted to become the MD then, because I was doing everything anyway.
Yeah.
And for me, it was I had a real issue with it being just like a title change. I've always had a big thing about titles not being important and everybody having value regardless. So I'm not for a structure where people are treated differently because of a title. I've always felt that everybody's important in a company, regardless of what they do.
Yeah.
So the idea of putting a big shiny title on me didn't go down well. And if you ask the team, it really didn't go down well. But I realised there was a lot of value in it as well. And it was a real moment of like, well, I've achieved this over a period of time whilst having kids and doing all of that on top, where I was like, actually, well, this is really nice. And they never had to ask me to join the board. It was never a given. But it was just an appreciation for everything that I'd done. And I'm really fortunate to have like a board of directors that are very supportive in anything that I do. They're all male. But they, through every change I've gone through, like having the kids and everything that I've done, they've always had my back. And I'm in a blessed position to be there, because I know a lot of people don't get that either.
Yeah, that's what I was going to try and kind of move on to. So obviously you're a mum.
Yeah.
How is that? Because you're managing director of a growing MSP. you're co-chair of, Comms Council Women in Telecoms Group, you're a mum, it must be a lot. I mean, my colleague I work with, she's a single mum, and I'm just in admiration for her every day, because, it's hard. And I think there's a massive sort of shift, I think, in the way that companies are bringing in, more flexible working. I think that is helping. But yeah, how do you navigate all of that?
I, don't- I mean, it's chaos. I'm not gonna lie. I adore being a mom, and they drive me insane at the same time.
Yeah.
It's that thing of I love my kids, but sometimes I don't like them. It's that, and it is hard. I've got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. Like, it's not easy. And my 3-year-old's like a mini version of me, and he's a wild and he's fiery and he's lovely, but he's intense. So all of that comes with it it's a lot to juggle. But I made a decision for me that if I was going to have kids, that I wanted to be present. And I think those sorts of decisions are they're very particular to the person. And I'm not a single mom, and I don't know how she does it genuinely, because I'd be pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
But I knew I always wanted to be present. And I think that I'm fortunate enough to have a support network around me that allows me to do both.
Yeah.
It's life. I'm not going to say it's 50-50 parenting by any stretch, because I think my husband wouldn't believe I'd ever say that out loud. But I'm closer than most people are. Like, he will do like pickups, he will do dinner. If I'm working late, he will put the kids to bed. He's always pushed for me to come to things like this and said that he will watch the kids. So I have the balance of being able to be in charge of RVS, because RVS is like another baby to me, and being able to be present at home. I work 4 days a week. I have a Friday off. I think it's really important that my 3-year-old gets mom. And I work in the evenings, so I work 5 days. I probably work 6 some weeks, but I work it around that. And I think it's important people understand that you don't necessarily have to pick.
Yeah.
You can have both. And the value I want to instill in my kids is mom's fun. She's like, if I'm not here, I'm not in a pair of heels, I'm in a pair of Skechers, a pair of running leggings, and we're up a mountain getting muddy. It's like, that's mom. So I'm very different outside of work.
Yeah.
And I want them to understand the value, though, of mommy works hard. And, mommy and daddy look after you. It's always been something that I want them to see the value. Like, my son William, he'll always go, "Are you a good boss, mom?" And I'm like, I hate the boss word. And he, "Are you a good boss, mom?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "Because you look after people and you care for people and all of this stuff." And it's all of those qualities that I think that they must see, that I want them to grow up knowing that you can be in charge of something and still be kind.
Yeah.
But still be pretty fierce too. Like, you can still be successful without being cruel to people. And I suppose that balances maybe the way I run RPS differently to other people, because I'm always thinking about what are they going to think of me and what I think of myself. Like, long term, success to me isn't just a monetary figure. There's so much more than that to me. But they keep me on my toes. 100% keep me on my toes. And 2 little Welsh boys. And I'm not for the faint-hearted, I have to say. But I love it. I really, really love it. So
Do you find that would you say you're the same person for Comms Council, for RPS, for being a mum? Or do you kind of feel like you put a hat on, your mum, put a hat on, you're this, but because it's a harder thing,
I definitely think that I'm different outside of work. I feel far more relaxed.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that this is me 24/7, and it's not. I said I'm the fun mom. I'm the wild one that likes playing and wrestling on the floor and all of that stuff. So I definitely think there's an element of that the business side doesn't see.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm different in a sense of, like, for me, it's about, you've got to be able to be vulnerable in a space. Like, you can't expect to lead people if people don't believe you're authentic. And I'm very authentic. I'm very honest about when I'm nervous. I'm very honest about not wanting to do podcasts. This sort of stuff to me is it's really important that people get the real you, but they probably get a different side of me.
Yeah.
And the kids do, which is natural, really. But I just try and be me and hope that that helps in some way to people. Because I'm in my position for a reason, and I'm there to support other people. And that's not so dissimilar from motherhood. It's like you've got 2 kids in the world to nurture and grow and to look after them and not give them all the answers, but to try and guide them on the right path. Business is very similar to that. So you still want to nurture and grow the company, but if you're telling everybody what to do all the time, it's not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
You want the people in your business to grow and you want them to flourish. So there's a lot of comparables there, I think, to being a mom that I probably didn't learn until I became a mom. Like I said, I was really fiery before. My kids tamed me. Like I was, because it was like all of a sudden, it was like, oh, okay, well, I've got Lee's now and I've got to be vulnerable and I've got to say I'm tired and I'm sleep deprived and it's hard being a mom. But being honest has only made all of that journey better for me.
Yeah.
And that vulnerability with people, when people understand that you're not perfect, even when they think you are, like, and they go, oh, well, she's got everything together. I do not have anything together. I don't. It's just nobody does though, but we all have a perception that people do.
Yeah, especially in this industry. Yeah. Well, if you had, any advice, I guess, because I just being really open, I would feel quite apprehensive about not saying that I want, a family anytime soon, but I would feel quite apprehensive about having children because I would feel like my career, potentially could be put on hold. And do I want to be mum or and I think sometimes it can be hard when you're just mum. And I think it's really nice to see a woman that's so, you're so passionate and you're still doing all your endeavors, but you're a mum as well. Like, yeah, I wonder if you've got any sort of advice for maybe, people that are thinking about having a family, how to navigate that in the industry.
Well, I think we have the challenge anyway that we know that the women in telecoms are in the minority. I think we know that it's got better, but it's not there.
Yeah.
So I think from that side of it, there's definitely the challenge of maybe a lack of awareness and an understanding level of it as well. I would hate to think somebody wouldn't have a child because they didn't feel that they were in an environment to be able to do that. But I think that comes then from the employer themselves. Like, change for me has always got to come, whether we like it or not, from the top down. So the people at the top have got to believe in it. So whilst it's very scary and it is a massive commitment to have kids and it is a big life change, there should be no reason why an employer shouldn't be supportive of that.
Yeah.
Like, we work for so many years. Like, what's wrong with having a year off? Like, the pause of the career of that time.
Yeah.
And it might be that your priorities change, but things like that happen with life anyway. I was having a conversation earlier about it's yes, you can have a child, but then what happens when you go through a bereavement? Or what happens if you've got to start caring for somebody?
Yeah.
There are so many things that we have in life that can cause things to falter.
Yeah.
Like, a career path now I don't see as like a linear path anymore.
Yeah.
I think it used to be very much so you went here and you hit this milestone and you went here.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with taking a year out and having a gap and then climbing the ladder a bit later? We're all working until we're like 70 odd anyway. So, and I think it's that perspective on it that's really important, that if people want to have children, and I'm all for people not as well. I've got plenty of people that I know that didn't and are happy. But it's personal. If you want to have a child, you should be in an environment that supports that.
Yeah.
And my view would be, which is probably not the right view, is that if you're not in the right place. Because the right business, the right CEO, the right MD will want your talent regardless of whether you want to work 3 days, 5 days, 2 days, and whether you want a year off or 2 months off to have that baby.
Yeah.
Because you're more important than that little set change that happens, because you've not lost your skills in those 9 months.
Yeah.
You've not lost you. Your priorities might have changed, but you're still talented. So why would you get someone in new when you've got an individual there that's already been part of that company?
Yeah.
And like the retention side of it that we see, like, the 30% of women are leaving in their 30s, and it's looking like, well, when do women have kids these days? So how do we get them back into the environment where they feel that they can still do their jobs and parent at the same time? And it's not just like exclusive either. It's not just on our side, it's on the men's side as well. So what do they want to do? Like, two people make a child. So do the men want to be at home? There's a lot of conversations that I think that don't happen.
Yeah.
But in the right environment, there's no reason why you can't have both. And I really feel very strongly, as you can probably tell, that you can have both and you don't have to choose. But you've got to have the right environment and you've got to have the right support. And that comes from your home life and from the business. There is a responsibility as a owner and a driver of being a leader of that company that you have to your people.
Yeah.
And if you look after them, they look after you tenfold. Like, if you think about it long term, you're investing in people to be successful. Like, that to me is the best gift that you're paying forward.
No, yeah.
So yeah, don't put it off. Don't go into it lightly. It's not a big commitment.
Yeah.
Don't put it off would be my advice. And it's very easy for me to say after having two. I appreciate that. But
It's a thing though. So my other half, his paternity leave isn't long. So I think he literally gets 4 weeks.
yes,
Whereas I think, you know, in my company, yeah, like I would probably be able to get like a year off.
yeah,
But yeah, it's kind of that thing of like, I would almost in that position be expected to take the time off because he only gets 4 weeks. So it's kind of, when would I ever feel ready to kind of take a year out? And maybe it's that, like you said, that priority shift. Your priorities change. It becomes a bit more of a thing that you really want to do, and therefore is kind of making those sacrifices. But is there anything that you think companies, you know, obviously supportive, you know, people around you, but is there anything that you think companies should be doing in terms of making that transition to women easier, and men that are having kids?
yeah. So I think we have a bit of a problem with the unconscious bias of who goes off and has the baby.
Yeah.
You know, as woman goes off, man goes to work, that sort of thing. And I think until that changes, like, there's a lot of stuff now about shared parental leave, which is great.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of businesses doing it.
Yeah.
Like, that parental responsibility should be 50-50. But even in environments where we see that that's been sort of fixed and it's like, well, you can have 6 months off as well. A lot of the feedback that I've seen is like, oh, well, I can't have 6 months off because I can't leave early for a school run because people are going to look at me and think, well, why am I leaving early? So from the male side, it's quite difficult. It's definitely more of a problem than
I
we
feel
think.
more judged. I feel like
Yeah.
more judged as well. Like, I can imagine a guy, you know, going and saying that they're taking their time off and their wife's working. Yeah, but would raise their eyebrows.
But it's being comfortable with that as well. Like, my husband's always been like, yeah, she's the breadwinner. I don't care, and I'm really proud of her. But some guys are like, oh, actually, no. Like, I'm that person, and I need to do this. And but dads want to be with their kids too. And I think this is maybe something that's changed over the past sort of like decade. Is that dads want to be at home. They want to play with their kids. They want to enjoy school plays. They want to, you know, it's all that stuff that we think mums just want to do, but dads had kids as well. So I think there's a lot of things going on that are going to help, but whether they come into play because people feel that they can't actually take the opportunity of taking them. It's just a natural thing of, like, kids sick in school, who do they ring? The mom. You know, it's just the natural thing is that we'll ring the mom first and then the dad's the second number. It's like we almost do ourselves over. But yeah, in the primary, all the
Doing it to ourselves, yeah.
But then equally, they don't grow it and they don't birth it. So sometimes you want to, like, both times, if my husband had said to me, I want to be off and you go back to work, I still wanted that time. Like, I'd just grown a baby for 9 months. It was mine.
Yeah.
And then you've got the element of how does it work? Like, if you breastfeed and if you don't, there's no right way of navigating through it, really.
Yeah.
But it is, I think that there's a big challenge between how men can support, and even like you said, like 4 weeks isn't very long.
No.
Adam had 2 weeks off work and booked 2 weeks holiday for me. And I had a birth injury where I couldn't drive for 6 weeks. So I had to go for surgery after our second, and I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't walk or anything. And the idea of him going back to work, and I had a 3-year-old at home that I was taking to then school every day, was absolutely petrifying. So that's got to change. It's like, but then I've got friends now that have had like 3 months off with their wives, and I see the difference in them because their wives are like, well, we've done it together. The first bit's hard, and then we've got into a bit of a routine, and then they've gone back to work, and everybody's a lot more grounded.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot more being done.
Yeah.
It's just we still need to keep progressing with it.
Yeah.
And the more dads that get involved, the better, really. It's all about that equal parenting. So
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. So moving on, women in channel, women in telecoms, yes, council. How did you get involved with this?
so Women in Telecoms was formed about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And it wasn't formed by me. It was formed by a lady who used to work in Gamma. She doesn't work in the industry anymore. And she went to Tracy and said, I really think we need a space where women can chat about stuff. I think she was feeling quite uncomfortable approaching a boss about a similar topic, about having kids and all of that. And although she said that at the time he was great, it was a topic that she felt very vulnerable about. And the group formed, and we had the first event, and there was about 20, 30 people there in London. And it sort of grew from there. And then she left the industry, and they were looking for a new chair or co-chair at the time. And a few years ago, I was at Connected North with Tracy from Agrathea, who is now the chair of Comms Council, who was like, I really think you should do this. And I was like, I've just had a baby. I just don't think this is a very good idea.
Yeah.
I can give you 100 reasons why I don't think this is right. And she said, well, just put your name forward. You've got to be voted for anyway. So I put my name forward. Well, everyone voted for me, didn't they? And then I was like, oh no. So I co-chair, which is far better than chairing, I have to say. So me and Lauren from Sangoma, we both co-chair the group. And it's sort of just, it blew up. I can't tell you, like we always knew that there was a need in the industry for women to have a space to come. Well, I was not expecting the impact that it's had so quickly. So like we're over 200 members now.
Yeah.
And these are people across multiple businesses. And a lot of these organisations, probably similar to RBS, where they're smaller, they don't have the opportunity to have those conversations. And there's nothing saying anybody's wrong with it. It's just when you're one of one in a team, where do you have those conversations? So, yeah, I think it came about as this is a nice to have and now is like a must. And we've seen the development of it in the industry. Where it's just grown and grown, and we see it now where we're doing mentoring with people, and we're talking about it on the panels and stuff, and it's just really nice to see so many women now in the industry like come a bit out of their comfort zone, and they're pushing for things. So we're seeing people that have gone for jobs they wouldn't have gone for, and people that are going on panels where they would have never spoke to.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to sort of see the progress that's been happening with it. We've just got to keep the momentum going.
Definitely.
So between the two of us doing it in our own spare time, and we're both moms, it's fitting it all in.
Yeah.
So,
and I think the networking element is so important to the women sort of in channel telecoms community, because it's kind of protecting your brand, but also learning, and then also networking for your future brand and future career. So I've been to quite a few of the events, and it's just been so nice to meet women that all kind of just want to like help each other, listen to each other, be a shoulder to cry on, be someone to come to for advice. And I think that's all we're really trying to do, isn't it? Get more women into the industry and shout about it more.
Yeah, and it's that safe space, isn't it? Like we've recently opened up a lot of the meetings to men as well, because I do feel that like we can talk a lot about what the issues are and how we want to change them, but we can't fix everything. And a lot of the time, I don't think it's through the other side's lack of trying. I think it's lack of understanding. I had a guy come up to me last year at Channel Live and ask me about menopause because his wife was going through it and he wanted to support her. And he was like, what do I do? And I was like, I'm really sorry, but I've not gone through the menopause yet, so I don't really know. I don't know whether to be offended or not, but you thought I was that old. But it's those sorts of things where they want to help, but they don't know sometimes the right thing to say, or something that could be offensive. Imagine you going to somebody and saying, "I want a baby," and them saying a comment and it be wrong. It's like, I think there's this perception sometimes that, oh, well, they don't care. But it's literally like, do they know what to say? So I think there's an important element of it from that side as well, as understanding that it's not just one-sided. And just having people just being able to have that voice and come to a space. Like, we used to come to events like this and there'd be no women. And people would be put off coming because they'd always say, well, there's just all men in a room. And I feel out of place. Now, everyone will text. We've got a WhatsApp group and say, who's going there? Right, okay. And then there's a bit of a, well, I'll sit with you then. And it brings people to events that they wouldn't have gone to before. And I've noticed a massive difference today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
And it's just all of those little things that we can sort of do to bring it on. And what I love about the group is that we are all technically competitors in the space.
Yes.
But we all get together and there's no competitive. So we're not talking about who's doing this, who's not, what we're selling. It's just all about supporting each other, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And to get women in that room and not have an element of like,
yeah, like competition, but
it is, yeah, for sure. It's nice. It's always been a really nice supporting environment.
And just on the networking point, so I think traditionally there's quite a lot of kind of tradition, events in terms of, golf, rugby, that sort of thing, even, strip clubs occasionally.
Yeah, I heard about it.
It'd be very interesting to hear your view on it because, I think for me personally, I've always struggled in those scenarios because I'm quite new to the industry. I've maybe always been afraid to say no, even if it maybe in my personal life would feel uncomfortable. But if it's, I'm working for that company and, it's a customer and you want to do things that obviously are going to bring value for the company business. So it's kind of, what's your view on it? Because, yeah, it's one of those things that I've kind of feel gradually I've realized that women should be empowered to say no, and women should say no if they feel uncomfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if anything, kind of it's hypocritical to kind of go to those things and then moan about it.
Yeah, you
so if you're gonna go, so it's kind of something, a bit of self-reflection myself that I'm kind of trying to get better at. But I'd just be interested to hear your view on it.
Yeah, I think this strip club thing caught me off guard, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think that still happened, but apparently it does. I mean, so my view is you do you. So it's very much I do me, you do you, but don't expect me to do that. So it's very much everybody's got their own thing. People have got things they enjoy, their hobbies and stuff like that. But I would find it really disrespectful as a woman, and not even a woman really, as a male, because you don't know how people feel about these things, to be invited for something that would make me uncomfortable. And regardless of the relationship you're trying to build, I just feel that there's a line that is drawn that maybe isn't drawn so clearly in business sometimes between what's professional and what isn't. And if people are up for it, fine, but you shouldn't be disregarding people that aren't.
Yeah.
And as the industry has evolved over the years, like, I can't golf. I've never learned. I'm all right, but I can't say, I've never learned to golf, but I've always networked, and at the end of it, people buy from people, and they do. And having those people that are more diverse in the businesses, it's like, we all know that having a more diverse business, businesses thrive better. And you can see, like, there's loads of studies been done on a business that's more diverse, it actually grows quicker. So you're sort of segregating a base of people then against that. So I'm not saying I don't want to be invited, just on the records, to a strip club, just so everybody knows. I'm not saying don't, if that's your thing.
Yeah, you do you, but don't invite
don't expect other people to conform to that.
Yeah.
Knowing that is something that's quite out there that would make them feel uncomfortable. But it's just, those networking events, they've got to be more chatty and they've got to be more fun. Like, are you having a conversation on a golf course, or would you like, you'd be going later to flight club, aren't you? To me, that's an environment that everybody can enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's neutral. It's just like, you don't have to be good at darts. You're just going for a bit of fun. And there's so many events now that people can do that don't have to involve those sorts of activities.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's just on our side. Like, if look, I'm not going to speak on his behalf necessarily, but my husband would be absolutely mortified if I said,
Yeah.
"Do you want to go to a strip club because so and so's invited you to go along?" And he'd be like, "That it's just not him."
Yeah.
So it's not just a female thing. There are some men that would find that really uncomfortable. That are probably just going along.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because yeah, it's definitely not just a female thing. It's definitely like males that I know that would just not feel comfortable in that kind of environment. I think it's kind of, you just need to feel empowered to say how we feel, don't we? And
but again, really easy for me to say, well, no, how dare you? But would somebody like at your level feel comfortable? Like, I'm at a level now where I run RPS the way I want to and what I value and what I think is important.
Yeah.
And it's always been the way at RPS for me for years. It's always been about people. It's always been about the customers. And I can control that. But if I was in a different part of my career, would I have felt as comfortable saying no? So I completely appreciate the sort of like, you want to gain the business.
That's it's a tricky one.
It's a balance, but it's just being respectful to people. It's not even a business thing. It's just know your rules. And if you don't care that much, I just feel like they're not a business that I would want to deal with. If that's how they treat people that are their suppliers, like, to me, a supplier to me is a partner. Like, we're very regimented on sort of like, we will only work with people that value what we value. And I'd prefer to have a partner that is more expensive, that looks after customers, that's got a similar ethos and value as RPS, because to me, that's really important.
Yeah.
That the customer gets that throughout the journey. If I've got somebody that is coming to me and saying that, I don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Because they're not respectful of me, so are they going to be respectful to my customers?
Yeah.
It portrays a different image.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So, and it's hard being the person that then says, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
But the integrity of RPS over the past 20 years and the next 20 years is going to be based on me having the line to be able to say, I don't believe in that, that's not right. And I'm not willing to sacrifice the way that we run and the way we do to conform to, well, you want to go do that. So, but like I said, it's really difficult because I can say, absolutely not. How dare you?
Yeah. No, it is a hard one. I think we've got to wrap up. I think it's the end, but one more question before we finish. I've asked this on the other podcasts I've done. I'd say it might be bad. I didn't pre-warn you on this one either. Do you have a party trick?
A party trick? Absolutely not. Oh, I'm not that fun. No.
Do you? Wrestling?
I mean, yeah, it's probably, my party trick's more of what you'd see on the other end. Or if you came with me outside of work, yeah, definitely. No party trick. No, I would give anything a good go. That's generally my go-to. I mean, not in this dress, but I give it a go. Yeah, so I'm just very much sure you've got to try some at once. If you don't like it, then you don't like it, but try some at once. So yeah, I'll probably be told later I've got a party trick that I don't know about.
No worries. So, well, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed.